let's start. Turn your Bibles to the book of Luke. Luke 23. We're going to start from the 38th verse to the 43. Luke 23, 38 to 43. Yeah. Where that big brother at? When he went out with the camp? Yeah, he ain't supposed to be going out with the camp.
I know.
Yeah, he in the steward program.
What's his name?
Yeah, give them brothers a call. La Brian and they supposed to take brothers out that's in the steward program.
Unless he went home or something out.
Yeah, he probably went to the camp.
Big brother.
Big brother and a few other brothers that if they're in the program, they can't go out to the camp. So we're in Luke 23, verse 38 to 43, Shamewan. I want you to get that.
Verse 38?
Yeah.
Luke 23, 38 verse.
Come on.
And a superscription also was written over.
Oh yeah, the topic of the class is it's the crucifixion or Yahawashi and the thief, or Christ and the thief. Whichever way you want to title it. I would say the crucifixion of the thief and Yahawashi. You know, however way Zaquan Aposh, you got it filming, right? However way Zaquan Aposh titled it when he put it up. Okay, so we're in Luke the 23rd chapter. Read that 38th verse again.
Luke 23, 38 verse. And a superscription also was written over him in letters of Greek and Latin and Hebrew.
And those in language that was spoken at that time. Go ahead.
This is the king, Salakia. This is the king of the Jews.
Come on.
And one of the malefactors which were hanged,
which one of the thieves, go ahead,
railed on him, saying, If thou be the Mashiach, save thyself and us.
Come on.
But the other answering rebuked him, saying, Doest not thou fear Yahweh, seeing thou art in the same condemnation?
Come on.
And we indeed justly, for we receive the due reward of our deeds. But this man hath done nothing amiss.
43.
And Yahawashi said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise.
Read the 42nd verse.
Oh, okay. And he said unto Yahawashi, Most High, remember me.
Lord.
Okay, Lord.
Go ahead. And he said unto Yahawashi, Lord, remember me. Go ahead.
And he said unto me, Yahawashi, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom.
So, what the thief is asking Yahawashi, he said, look, Lord, when you come into your kingdom, remember me. Okay, because there was two thieves. Yahawashi is in the middle. One of the thieves was railing on Yahawashi. The other thief said, look, man, you know, stop railing on man. We in the same condition we in. And the thief said, Lord, when you come into your kingdom, remember me. So this thief, evidently he knew something about Yahawashi and who he was. Okay, read on.
And Yahawashi said unto him, Verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise.
So Yahawashi said, today thou shalt be with me in paradise. Now, keep that in mind. We coming back to this scripture, okay? Because we're going to see, did the thief, did he go up into paradise, go up into the heavens, to the spirit realm before Yahawashi? Because the scripture said Yahawashi didn't go up until 3 days later. Because remember when he came to Mary and he said, don't touch me, I haven't ascended to my Father. So was the thief already up there without Yahawashi? It couldn't happen, right?
No.
The thief must have been a bad dude. I mean, if he can get there before all the Old Testament saints, if he can arrive there before Abraham, if he can arrive there before David, must have been a bad dude. Must have been very loved, right? Okay, let's go to the book of Acts 2:34. While we getting that, give me show of hands. What do you think Yahawashi offered the thief? What was he saying to him? Give me some hands. What was he saying to him, Sharon? Give me some more hands. What was Yahawashi actually saying to the thief? What was he offering him? Come on, your hand was up first.
Oh, forgiveness.
What was he offering?
I'm going to say redemption, because he recognized the fact that Yahawashi was up here for having done nothing.
Okay.
He was going to offer, because he recognized that.
He acknowledged quite a few things. He had acknowledged the power of the Most High, acknowledged him as the Messiah. Yeah. But what was Yahawashi, when Yahawashi was saying, you will be with me today, I want to get into what was he really offering this thief. Let's go to Acts 2:34. And what's the young brother's name? You read that and read it with power, read it with strength. Acts 2:34.
The book of Acts, chapter 2, verse 34.
Come stronger.
For David is not ascended into the heavens, but he said himself, the Lord said unto my Lord, sit thou on my right hand.
So the scriptures say, for David is not ascended into the heavens. So how could the thief be there? If David ain't there, and David was much more, say, righteous or better than the thief. So how could the thief overstep all the saints? Overstep Abraham, overstep David, and overstep Yahawashi. I mean, he's there before Yahawashi. Because Yahawashi didn't just go straight there. 3 days later, he hadn't ascended to the Most High. Continue to read. Let's go from there. Let's go to John 3:13. I want to finish this class before everybody's hands start going up. John 3:13. Can you get that one for me, Ben? St. John 3:13.
And no man have ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven.
It said, no man have ascended up to heaven, but he that came down from heaven. Read on.
Even the Son of Man which is in heaven.
Even the Son of Man which is in heaven. Now let's go back to the book of Luke 23, and let's examine this again. Luke 23 and 43. Get that for me, Ben. Or rather 42. 42 and 43.
And he said unto Yahawashi, Lord, remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom.
Come on.
And Yahawashi said unto him, verily I say unto thee, today shalt thou be with me in paradise.
Now, this is going more so, this is going into the Greek. The translation, if you look at the Greek text, if you look at the original text, there were no commas, there was none of that, no punctuations or whatsoever. So the translators just put it where they thought it should belong. Okay, but when you read it straight out. So now to get the understanding and not to make this a doctrine, you would read it as such. And Yahawashi said unto him, see, it's a problem with the comma. You see where the comma is at? And Yahawashi said unto him, verily I say unto thee today. Okay, he said, verily, verily I say unto thee. That's where the comma is at. It said, today shall thou be with me in paradise. So now the minds of the people in the religious world is thinking, okay, as soon as the thief, as soon as you die, you go straight to heaven. That's not what it said, because the comma is in the wrong place. This is how it should read. Come on, Ben, read it again.
And Yahawashi said unto him, verily I say
unto thee today, comma, today, then the comma comes. he said, shall thou be with me in paradise. Yahawashi said, and Yahawashi said unto him, verily, verily, I say unto thee today. He said, shall thou be with me in paradise. You understand? He said, I'm going to tell you this today. You're going to be with me in paradise. So now you're getting understanding of what Yahawashi was offering this thief. Now, what was he offering now? He was offering him resurrection. Because where's David? Waiting for his resurrection. Where's the Old Testament saints? They changed their resurrection. Because when you read in the Hebrews, it say that the saints is going to be perfect. They're going to be perfected, and we're going to be perfected together. You understand? That's the gift and the grace that the Most High gave us. We're going to be perfected together. So the thief is not going to be perfected before Yahawashi, because Yahawashi hadn't ascended yet. He's not going to be perfected before David. We are going to be perfected together. Remember the scripture? Blessed are those in that first resurrection. So the thief is going to have an opportunity in that first resurrection in the paradise. Now we're going to go into scriptures and find out what paradise, what Yahawashi talking about. Because when we read in Corinthians, Paul said that he went to the third heaven in the, in spirit, and he's seen the paradise of the Most High. So there are two paradises now. One at the throne of the Most High in his realm, and the Garden of Eden. Because the Garden of Eden, if you look at some of these shows or read the books Paradise Lost, the Garden of Eden was the paradise that was lost. But it was regained how? Through who? Yahawashi's sacrifice. He regained the paradise. And when we're ruling, when Yahawashi's kingdom on earth, and when brothers and sisters in the first resurrection that's going to rule with him, that's going to be the paradise on earth, and the Most High's presence is going to be there. Wherever the Most High is present, that's paradise right there, because paradise is like a garden. It's just like a high level of the Holy of Holies. You got me? So we got the understanding of what Luke 23, 38 to 43 is talking about. The thief didn't go direct to the heavens. Okay, Yahawashi say, I say this to you today. You shall be with me in paradise after the resurrection. Okay, because we're going to be there after the resurrection. Okay, the ones that's alive shall be taken and changed and taken with Yahawashi. Okay, from here let's go to 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter. First Thessalonians, the 4th chapter, the 13th to the 18th verse. Same brother Ben, if you're with me.
1 Thessalonians 4:13.
Everybody got it? Write them down. Write the scriptures down. Let's go.
But I would not have you to be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope.
Okay.
For if we believe that Yahawashi died and rose again, even so them also which sleep in Yahawashi will the Most High bring with him.
Will he bring with him? The thief coming? He's coming? Yes. Go ahead.
For this we say unto you by the word of the Most High, that we which are alive,
We which are alive at that time, read on,
and remain unto the coming of Yahawashi, shall not prevent them which are asleep.
okay, because we all are going to be perfected together. Together. Go ahead.
For Yahawashi himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet of the Most High, and the dead in Mashiach shall rise
And
first.
the dead shall rise first. The dead in Yahawashi shall rise first. So there's hope in that resurrection. Blessed are those in that first resurrection. Strive for that. Okay, because you don't want to have to come back and then you'll judge whether you're going to make it or not, or you're going to be cast into the fire or not. Okay, read on. Go ahead.
17th verse.
So I can.
And we which are
What, you got a
alive,
question?
Yeah, I have a question.
What's up?
So when they're saying about the dead shall rise first, they're talking about actually ascension, because it says then like actually.
The ones that's in their grave. The ones like David,
Yeah.
like some of the apostles, like some of the ones that was living in our time that them put the work in, those. Remember when Yahawashi died? Who rose when Yahawashi died? Some of the saints, some of the Old Testament saints. Some of them was in the grave, rose up, and they walked throughout the cities, and people actually saw them. Yeah, so that's in the grave, okay? Because where's the thief? He's in the grave. He's going to be risen up, and however the way the Most High does things, the Most High put the spirit back, and how the way the Most High does it. But the dead is in the graves, because Yahawashi ascended, and King David, they said, where's David? David's in the grave. Where the rest of them? They're in their grave. They're waiting for their change. They're waiting for the resurrection, just like a lot of brothers and sisters that was in this word. They're waiting for their change, like we're waiting for our change, and we're living. Okay, we're waiting for the perfection, just like the dead. Okay, we're getting that same rewards. We're getting the same gifts. Okay, where we at? Ben?
17th verse.
Read that.
Then we which are alive,
We which are alive and remain
shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Yahawashi in the air, and so shall we ever be with Yahawashi.
Read the 18th verse.
Wherefore comfort one another with these words.
With the words. So it said we're going to meet the Lord where? In the air. Did it say that we going beyond the air and go into the spirit realm, going to the heavens? No, it said we're going to meet him in the air, but we coming back where? To earth. See, people don't have to go to heaven. People don't go to heaven. Heaven comes down to earth to the people. You understand? You ain't got to go up there. It comes to you. It's like when you say in your prayers, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. In Jerusalem 21, when John had this vision, he seen the New Jerusalem coming down from. Now, it was a vision now. It wasn't like a whole city just coming down and sitting in the earth. Okay, it was a vision, because the future kingdom is going to be like a pattern of the spirit realm. The laws, the Sabbath, how it's set up in the spirit. See, that's how the Most High meant for it to be anyway. But we messed up. We messed up. We disobeyed. Okay, let's talk about paradise now. Let's go to 2 Corinthians 12:2-4. Same reader.
2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 2.
Start from the first. Start from the second verse. I'll try to roll through this.
Let me read one real quick.
Okay.
2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 1. It is not expedient for me, doubtless, to glory. I will come to visions and revelations of Yahawashi.
See, I will come to visions and revelations of the Most High. Read on.
I knew a man in Mashiach about 14 years ago. Whether in body, I cannot tell, or whether out of the body, I cannot tell.
When you read this, it's like Paul is speaking of who?
Yahawashi.
Right, he couldn't tell when he was there.
He's not talking about himself?
No,
How do you know?
because he was in a vision. And the Most High came to him in a vision when he was on the island of Patmos.
He said he knew a man
He knew him, but
14 years ago. He's referring to who?
Himself.
Okay.
Himself in the third round.
Okay. In the third person, yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
this
in
is
the third
himself.
person.
He said the person who's been in the machine.
I got you. I want her to get it. I got you. I know you got it.
He's speaking of himself in the third person.
Yeah, he said, I knew a man.
And he said, whether in body I cannot tell, or whether out of the body I cannot tell. He said, the Most High knoweth.
Most High knows.
Okay, such a one was caught up to who? The third heaven. Okay, that was him. Go ahead.
And I knew such a man, whether in the body or out of the body, I cannot tell.
Okay.
Yet the Most High knoweth. How that he was caught up into paradise and heard unspeakable words, which it is not lawful for a man to utter.
Now, when Yahawashi was caught up, Now, how would Paul know, okay, Yahawashi caught up and he heard all these, seen these visions and heard all these unspeakable words from the Most High. So who saw these things up in the third realm? Paul saw it. The Most High showed Paul these things. So Paul said, look, I cannot even attempt to sit down and utter this to like regular people. Because when you read some of the histories, Paul have writings called the Apocalypse of Paul.
Right.
If you read it, you have to close the book for a minute because it sounds so way out. It's similar to the book of Enoch. If a lot of you have dipped into the book of Enoch, when it talk about the different levels of the spirit realm, when it speaks about the angels, and when it speaks about certain things, certain the elements. Okay, it'll blow your mind. You got to close the book for a minute. So Paul is actually speaking of himself. He said he heard unspeakable words, which is not lawful for a man to even utter. I mean, how can I, the Most High show something to me, and I witnessed this. How can I come and just sit and, hold a conversation with you and try to make you understand these things? Because some of us still on a mental level. Now, the Most High taken some brothers to the spirit realm and showed them visions and revelations and showed them things that's way out, that's in the spirit realm. Like John's vision, like Peter's vision. Peter had visions as well. The Most High showed Peter things, certain levels of the spirit realm. And Peter wrote things about it, the Apocalypse of Peter. The Testament of the 12 tribes. There are many other writings. The Apocalypse of Moses, the Assumption of Moses. Moses wrote many things. Moses was shown a lot of things as well. Remember when Moses went on the mount 40 days, nights? In the Apocrypha, it tells you that Moses, he went up there that long and just come back with 10 commandments. Moses got more than that. Moses was shown past, present, and future. So he couldn't come back and sit with you and kick it with you and tell you all these things. Well, you know what the Most High, he couldn't get into that with you. Remember in the Apocrypha, I think it's in 2nd Ezra. I don't know the exact chapter, but Ezra and a few other brothers, they wrote these books. You know what chapter that's in, Barak? In the Apocrypha in Ezra, when Ezra and a few other brothers, they wrote these books.
Oh, it's like
He told them to hide.
the first chapter, second chapter?
I think so. They wrote these books, and the Spirit told them, look, these books you give to the simple or the unlearned, which was the Bible. Then he said, but these books, you give it to the ones that's learned. What he was talking about was the apocalyptic books. You give these books to the ones that have already studied this Bible, the ones that's already ready. They beyond the milk diet. They ready for that rough and tough meat. Okay, those were the apocalyptic books. Okay, now let's jump from there. Revelation 2 and 7. We talk about paradise. Revelation 2 and 7. Can I get the same?
Revelation 2 and 7. He that hath an ear, let him hear what the Spirit saith unto the churches. To him that overcometh will I give to eat of the tree of life, which is in the midst of the paradise of the Most High.
The tree of life is going to be where? Now, where would that paradise be? Huh? Is it going to be spirit realm, or is it going to be here on earth?
On earth.
Because I look at the tree of life. When you read in Ezekiel in the 31st chapter, Adam was compared, where they use the symbolism of a tree. It said all the trees envied, all the trees in the garden envied Adam. And when Paul was blind, when the blindness was uplifted of Paul, Paul said, I see men as trees. Well, I think it was Paul or someone else. Someone else was blind, said that I see men as trees. So I would say, in my personal understanding, I would say Yahawashi is that tree of life, and from him comes, you know, the fruits of healing and so forth. That's my personal understanding. And they would slide up and rest a little bit, you know, get the blood flowing, and then drop back, slide back up, rest, get the blood flowing a little bit, you know. But when they came to Yahawashi was already dead. Read on.
32nd verse. Then came the soldiers and brake the legs of the first and of the other which was crucified with him.
So they broke the legs of the thieves.
So it was cupcake.
Broke, right, because when you break the legs, you can't slide up on that stump no more. You break the leg, you done. Go ahead.
But when they came to Yahawashi and saw that he was dead already, they brake not his legs.
Now, this is not the scripture just here. It doesn't have a meaning to it. Yes, it have a meaning. So why didn't they break? Why was Yahawashi was already dead? They didn't break his legs.
Because prophecy says that the bone is broken.
Right, that's in the book of Psalms. But give me something else. Give me some hands. What is Yahawashi to us?
He's our sacrifice. He's our Savior.
Right, he's our sacrifice, but what is he?
Passover.
He's the Passover, the Lamb of the Most High. Okay, so when you read in the law of the Passover, the bone shall not be broken. Right, right. Okay, he's the sacrifice and he's the Lamb of the Most High. Let's go to John 129. And if you can get me Exodus 12:46.
Exodus 12:46.
Exodus 120, John 129. Exodus 12:46 and John 129.
So you want John first, right?
Yeah.
It's in John 129, right?
Right.
The next day John seeth Yahawashi coming unto him, and saith, Behold, the Lamb of the Most High, which taketh away the sin of the world.
So Yahawashi was that lamb. Let's go to Exodus 12:46.
Exodus 12:46. In one house shall it be eaten. Thou shalt not carry forth aught of the flesh abroad out of the house.
That's the lamb.
Neither shall ye break a bone thereof.
And neither shall ye break a bone thereof. So that's why the Most High had it where when they gave the order to break their legs, Yahawashi was already gone. But they broke the thieves' legs, okay? So from here, the crucifixion was a method of capital punishment. The Assyrians used it, the Persians used it, the Seleucids, which were Greeks, used it, and the Romans used it. And they use it today. In Saudi Arabia, they use it. But now they had firing squads. They had hanging. They had the gas chamber, and they had electrocution. Now they got the lethal injection now. Okay, methods of capital punishment. Now, get ready to write. Constantine I, Roman emperor. He abolished the crucifixion in 337 AD. He abolished crucifixion. And he also issued the Edict of Milan.
Milan?
Yeah. Which would be a city in Italy. This was in 313 AD. He issued this edict, which allowing Christianity or the teachings of Christ to be freely worshipped. Okay, it's called the Edict of Milan in 313 AD. Okay?
You said it's allowing the teachings of Christ to do what?
So Christianity would be the religion of that empire, the Roman Empire. And Constantine also made Sunday the rest day. He took it from Saturday and made it Sunday for his soldiers. Okay, so he was going off, but the history say that he accepted Yahawashi accepted Christ on his deathbed. Okay, and in 337 AD, the crucifixion was abolished. The Edict of Milan in 313 AD, where Christianity or the teachers of Christ was instituted throughout the Roman Empire. Okay, now Constantine. In 312 AD, Constantine fought. Y'all write this down and y'all go look this up. He fought another emperor called Maxentius. And their battle was at the Milvian Bridge. Write this down, because I'm erased.
You said Maxentius was a what?
He was another emperor.
Constantine fell to him?
No, I'm gonna get into that.
I'm sorry.
This was by the Tiber River. You can't understand my writing? What is it?
MILVIN, got it.
Okay. The Milvian Bridge. This was outside of Rome. Okay? It was battled in Maxentius, the battle of the Milvian Bridge by the Tiber River outside of Rome. This was in 312 AD. Now, I'm getting ready to erase. Everybody got
Come on,
this?
this is a picture.
Okay, come on. Yeah,
Because
come on.
I quite slow.
Take a picture, take a picture.
Yeah, take a picture.
I did.
Anybody else? Y'all got it? Y'all got it written down?
Yeah.
Everybody got it?
So he also changed the Sabbath day from Saturday
To Sunday, yeah. You know, once you pull him up, all that'll come up. All that history will come up. Everybody got it? And I'm gonna go a little bit into the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. Y'all got it? Got it? Got it? Okay. Now Constantine won this battle, but he had a vision. Okay, and in the vision he saw a sign, and it say, "In this sign, conquer." And the sign came to him in the Greek. It was. If you ever heard of the Cairo? You know Greek? Which is this. Y'all ever saw that?
Yes.
It's like a Christogram, a monogram. I'm gonna put it together.
Oh, isn't that like on that cross
Right.
thing at the...
Y'all ever seen that? The Catholics, and it's in churches. It's called the Cairo. Okay, that's why I had it separated. When you put it together, it's like a Christogram. It's a monogram of the letters in Greek of Christ's name. Okay.
Don't they have it on their, like,
The Pope has it on his garments. They have it on his staff. Yeah, right. But when you read the histories, you will also read where he saw it was a cross, which was a sword. But this is also like a sword as well. But I've read the history where it said this is what he saw, the Cairo, a monogram, a Christogram, in the vision of Christ's monogram, a Christogram, and had his soldiers to put this on their shields. Now, if you go into some of the history, you will see Constantine with the shields, his soldiers with the shields, with this on their shields. Okay? So this is signifying Christ. Okay? Combining the Greek letters Christos, the Christogram, which signifies Christ. Okay? And also, you can find it on the military standard that they carry too. It displays the Cairo too. The symbol, the two Greek letters of the word of Christ, which this military banner was called the Labaron, a military standard. Okay, go look that up too.
So it was found on a military vest?
It was found on religious, like the Pope. He have it on his garments. Some would carry a staff with this emblem on it. And this Labaron is a military standard. They would carry the standard with a flag. It was on the flags, okay, or on their staffs. And Constantine had his soldiers to put this on their shields. And they went out to battle and they was victory. Okay? And when you look up Constantine, you will also the Council of Nicaea. Y'all heard of that? You heard of that, right?
They're called Nicaea.
Nicaea, yeah.
Because that was when they, that is when they made that determination to change it to Sunday for during the council.
Okay, this right, what I'm getting ready to talk about is the first council, which was they went into the deity of Christ. Okay, which this would be around. This was around area of Turkey. The Council of Nicaea, which the bishops and leaders got together, and their discussion, they was battling Arianism. A person by the name of Arian, and his followers was called the Arians, and his teacher was Arianism, which they had councils to go into the deity of Christ. Was Christ the Most High? But Arian was saying Christ was like a lesser God than the Most High, wasn't of the same substance. But Constantine, they pushed that, you know how religions, Christ is God?
Right.
Okay, so this what this council was about, the Council of Nicaea. Okay? In 325 AD, forgot the date. When you go on the internet, you go home, you look it up, all that, the histories and all the details will come up. Okay?
That's it.
Yeah, go ahead, Ben.
Some people pronounce it Nicaea, some say Nicaea.
In Nicaea, right. Right.
They were battling Arianism, you said.
Right, that's not on a physical level. It was just in councils to, you know, for us a doctrine battle. But then again, it was debates. But then again, it became physical when this council, most of them agreed that Christ is God and so forth. So they excommunicated Arian, and then the order was put out by Constantine. If any was found with the teachers or any books in reference to Arian, they should be put to death. So yeah, it turned into a physical situation as well. Yeah. Because they outlawed him, they excommunicated him. But other bishops in other places believed what he was saying, was taking him back in. And they had many councils. Okay? And that was called Arianism by a person by the name of Arius. They were the Arians. Okay, not the white Aryan race, they was the Aryans, Arianism. Okay, go look up this and
So
everything will come up.
He was one of the bishops, Arian?
No, he was I wouldn't say that he was a bishop. I didn't read that he was a bishop.
Like a clergy, like
Right, but it was bishops that was supporting him. Okay, that was taking him in, supporting him, and pushing his doctrine. Okay, so you say he was a clergy?
a clergy, like
Okay.
father clergy.
But he had a lot of influence for bishops and high ranking to accept his teachings and to support him. Because each time he got excommunicated, a bishop over here would take him in and give him freedom to teach and so forth. And they would have another council excommunicate him from this place. He would go over here, another bishop would take him in. So he had a position. I was Ben Say clergy. He had a position of influence. Okay, everybody got this? Yeah, get ready. So whenever you see the Cairo, that's what it represents. It signifies Greek in Christ. Whenever you see that.
That represents Arianism, you say?
No.
What did you say?
You just wrote it down,
When
right?
when you see that symbol, that represents Cairo.
Right. I didn't say nothing about Arian.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the crucifixion now. Let's go into, y'all heard of Spartacus, right?
Yes.
Spartacus died 71 BC. He was part of the slave rebellion, okay, fighting against the Romans forces by Crassus. And Crassus defeated Spartacus' army, and he crucified about 6,000 followers of Spartacus along the Appian Way that was around Rome. Let me write this down. Go look this up.
So you said Spartacus, he was part of the slave rebellion.
Right.
Now, who was Crassus?
Crassus was a Roman general. Okay, go look this up.
So,
Once you put this in, once you get this, all that'll come up, all the history.
and of course they say that Spartacus was white, right?
That's what they say.
That's what they said. But we know.
His name is Spartacus Crassus.
No, Crassus.
No,
is
look at the
That's
writings.
two
Look at the
different
writings. Yeah. Now,
Now, who was Crassus, this Roman general?
Roman general. What you mean? What?
Well, why did you bring up his name? Crassus?
Because that's who he was rebelling against.
he was
That's who they was at war
rebelling.
with.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Can I say too much?
Right. Go ahead.
He was Spartacus.
I sure.
Because if you look up Spartacus, his name will come up anyway. I just want to give you who he was at war with. And he was the one that crucified about 6,000 of his followers, Spartacus followers.
Oh.
See, I'm going back into the crucifixion. Okay, then you was going to say something.
Yeah, just history, like I always repeat itself. Rome and America is the same as one. Just like America today, if you oppose the democracy or their way of life, they will launch a military deployment against you to force you to come under the banner of democracy.
Right.
So Rome was the same way. Any nation or group that were in opposition to what Rome stands for, they will send out the military to crush your opposition. Like the scripture said, they will stamp the residue with their feet. They'll stamp you and colonize you with Romanism or the way of Rome.
Right.
So America does the same thing too. Anybody that's opposed America's value or interest going against what they stand
They're coming
for,
at you.
They'll either put a sanctions or boycott you or bomb the hell out of you.
Right.
It's the same thing all over again.
Right. Now talking about bombing, write this down. In 1597, about 26 Christians was crucified in Nagasaki. You know, that's Japan. Okay? About 26 Christians, 1597, this AD, okay? 26 Christians crucified in Nagasaki in Japan. Now remember World War II.
Yes.
Okay, from 6 years from what, 1939 to 1945. Now remember the first bomb, the first atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, right? Okay, the first one was dropped on Hiroshima, August the 6th, 1945. And the bomb was the first nuclear weapon that was used in war. Like what Ben was said, you know, how America, you know, their sanctions, if you don't agree, they'll come at you any way they can, man. And it tells you when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki that these two bombings killed between 129,000 to 226,000 people. Most of the people were civilians. They weren't battle people. They were civilians. And from 129,000 to 226,000 civilian people. And most of them were civilians. And they say this atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima. The bomb was the first nuclear weapon deployed in war. Okay? And also, it said in Hiroshima, it said the B-29 bomber plane called the Enola Gay dropped the bomb. The code name was Little Boy. Ain't there some Enola Gay dropping Little Boy? Huh? Yes, that's something. And that second bomb that they dropped on Nagasaki, right? That bomb was called the Fat Man. That was August the 9th, 1945. So they got their names, the Fat Man. That was the name of that bomb. First time nuclear bombs or nuclear weaponry was deployed. Okay? Y'all got all that in 1597, 26 Christians crucified in Nagasaki. Okay, now, remember the Apostle Peter. Peter was crucified. But what was the difference in Peter's crucifixion by hands?
He was upside down.
Right. He asked to be crucified upside down because he said he's not worthy to be crucified and killed, executed the same way his Lord and Savior. So he asked to be crucified upside down. So that's what they was doing. If you wasn't Roman citizen, they was crucifying you. So Paul was Roman citizen. How did Paul die? Give me some hands. Thought you was getting ready to raise your hand. Give me some hands. How did Paul die? It was a quick, clean death. Beheaded. Okay. So you would rather be what? Crucified, hanging for days, or you want your head taken off and get rid of it, get it over with? Clean death. Now, St. Andrew was crucified on an X-shaped cross. So whenever you see that X-shaped cross, that's the cross of Andrew. Okay? Because, the disciples, they died some vicious death, man. John, I believe one of John Zebedee's brother, beat with a club and thrown over a wall. Bartholomew said he was frayed to death. His skin was just raked off them. Yeah. So they died vicious death. But look at what King David was doing, man. When King David was taking nations, King David was throwing children off the cliff, sawing them in half. So, yeah. So look, in 519 BC, Darius the First, write this down. Darius the First, king of Persia, crucified 3,000 Babylonian political inhabitants in 519 BC. Darius the First, king of Persia, crucified 3,000. You want me to write it down?
Spell his name.
Darius. This is Darius, yeah. This is Darius, yes, Darius.
Darius.
I said Darius.
Yeah, I mean.
It's a title.
Yeah,
it's a title.
yeah.
Crucified 3,000 Babylonian political inhabitants. Okay? Now, this was in 519 BC. Now in 88 BC, do anybody remember this guy? Or remember his name? Who was he? Y'all thought he was a Greek, huh? What family was he out of? Alexander Jannaeus. What family did he come out of? Was he part of us? Was he one of our brothers? Because he crucified about 800 Pharisees. Was he part of us?
Israel? Was he Israel?
He was Israelite.
He was Israelite?
He was John Hyrcanus the second son. He was from the Maccabees.
Okay.
He was from the Hashmonean, write this down, the Hashmonean dynasty.
Okay.
You said he crucified how many?
800. 800 Pharisees. Now, he was more influenced by the Sadducees. Okay, in 88 BC, Alexander Jannaeus crucified 800 Pharisees. Now, his rule was 13 to 76 BC.
800, right?
800, right. And
Swap it. Dick, you said, he's a descendant from the Maccabees, right?
Yeah.
And-
no. Yeah, he's a descendant from the Maccabees,
Hasmonean
right?
dynasty, a descendant of the Maccabees. You said he was in rulership?
Yeah.
From 101?
You just read the sign, And his name was Alexander Jannaeus, the Hasmonean dynasty, and he had 800 Pharisees put to death. He had their wives and children executed before he put them to death. And as he was doing all this, he was eating with his concubines. Ain't that something? That's ruthless. You had crucifixion in Yemen. Go look this up. This was in, I believe, 2012. 2 men was executed. They was crucified on the cross. They executed them first and then put them on the cross. They was allegedly spies. And they had above their crucifixion scriptures from the Quran. Okay? All right. And in Saudi Arabia, their courts can still issue out crucifixion in the courts of Saudi Arabia today. Okay, write all that down and go check out what I wrote on the board. Go check the history. Go look those names up. This is the end of the class. I thought I'd go into that. So we all know that the thief in the book of Luke 23, the thief didn't go direct to the heavens, right?
No.
Where did he go?
He had to wait.
You got to go to the
He had to wait. He had to
What is he waiting for?
wait.
He's waiting
He waiting for paradise, but what does he wait before he gets to paradise? He waiting for the resurrection. So that's what Yahawashi offered him when you take the commas away. Yahawashi say, verily I say unto you today, you will be with me in paradise in the resurrection. Okay, so you got it now. Don't get twisted on those commas and so forth because they weren't there. And it may be other scriptures. I mean, when you read it, if it's a doctrine made from the scriptures, you will know that, okay, that don't supposed to be there. If it's a doctrine in society, in the religious, if it's a doctrine, you know, oh, wait, there's something wrong with this. Then you have to go back into the Greek. You have to go back into these different languages to really verify, okay, is this what it's really saying? Because how is Yahawashi going to offer the thief the heaven, and he haven't been there yet? 3 days passed, Yahawashi haven't been there yet. He told Mary, look, I haven't ascended to my Father. Let's go to that scripture. That's in John, right then? And this is going to be the last scripture. John the 20th. 20th chapter, the 16th verse. I'll come up.
It's in John chapter 20, verse 6.
16.
16. Yahawashi saith unto her, Mary. She turned herself and saith unto him, Rabboni, which is to say, Master. Yahawashi saith unto her, touch me not, for I am not yet ascended to my Father.
Yahawashi said, I haven't ascended to my Father yet. So how could the thief ascend and Yahawashi haven't ascended? Did he say, you're going to be with me?
Yeah.
No, so he ain't there yet. Okay, go ahead.
But go to my brethren and say unto them, I ascend unto my Father.
I'm going to ascend to my Father. Read on.
And your Father, and to my power and your power.
And your power. That's it of the class. Next class, it's the Hebrew class. Karazala will be teaching that.